Man, I need a haircut. A couple weeks ago, I was digging into another creator's content, this guy named Robert Dudzik, who is a very accomplished sound designer. And while I was watching one of his walkthroughs tutorials, I noticed something interesting. He basically created a custom Kontakt instrument that included all the functions he would normally do to process his audio files, and built them into a software instrument, which I thought, wow, that's cool. I'm gonna steal that idea. He also has some really great practices in terms of resampling things. So taking recordings, modifying them some way, and then re-recording them so that you kind of force yourself to constantly move forward, which I think is a really good tactic. Anyway, it gave me this whole idea of, well, as a sound designer myself, there's all these things that I do on a regular basis with the stuff that I record to manipulate it, to see what kind of tonal characteristics it has, and to see what I can coax out of it. So I set myself a goal of building a similar type of virtual instrument so that I can just throw whatever I have in there really quickly, start hitting the keyboard, and cool stuff will come out. And I'm not limited by tools and moving the mouse around and trying to do all this stuff, which takes a lot of time and unnecessary time. A funny offshoot of that is that I have, from all of the recordings that I've done over the past 10, 15 years, I have so many cool sampled instruments that I built for myself that get used in like a single project, and then they live on my hard drive and I never touch them again. So I felt, let's do something about that. So I built a couple of simple Kontakt instruments as an experiment, and hopefully as my skills build out, I get more familiar with scripting and how to actually make these things usable, is to release some of these occasionally, because it's a shame that they just live on my hard drive and I touch them once, in some cases I never touch them again. So more fun if I turn them out in the wild and see what you guys can create with them. I'm gonna release these under the heading of instruments nobody asked for, because nobody asked for them, and I'm gonna release them anyway. So let's take a look at the first two. These are two mallet instruments, one a xylophone, one a marimba. I'm calling them the Tonewoods. All right, so here is Tonewoods xylophone. The layout is very simple, and when we move over to the marimba, you'll see it's essentially the same layout. I wanted it to be familiar, and so you didn't have to learn two completely new interfaces, but hopefully it's very straightforward. You've got, obviously, a volume control. It can get loud at times, so this is helpful if you're reaching the point of almost clipping. There's a width knob, which is super important because I recorded these extremely wide stereo-wise. And I did that because I wanted the maximum amount of stereo imaging that I could get and then reduce from there if necessary. So you have something super wide if you want it, but you can also pull it back a little bit so it's more around the center, and you can even pull it all the way down where you get to the point of it being mono. Past the width knob, especially if it's in like a monophonic state like it is now, you got a pan knob, so you can move it around the soundstage if you want. Right now the limiter is disabled, but if you wanted to turn it on, just hit this button and you can lower your threshold as needed if you need something super compressed. Sounds pretty crunchy, noisy, but you do you. Right here, this is like one of the killer features of this particular instrument. When I recorded this, I recorded it two different mallet types, a hard mallet, which is the more classical style, and then soft mallets. And using this fader or CC1 knob, if you grab your modulation wheel, you can control it with that too. You can crossfade in infinite variations between those two articulations, and they blend really nicely. And shouts to my friend Joshua Griffin, who helped to code that aspect of the instrument. Could not have done it without him, so shouts to him. But yeah, you get two main articulations. Your soft mallets and your hard mallets. So you can tell very tonally characteristically different, but you can also get the best of both worlds. Moving past the mallet articulations, you've got a baked-in convolution reverb with impulse responses that I released a couple months ago from a trip I took. So I'll put a link in the description if you missed that, so you can download those as well. But just a ton of tonal variety here. You've got, this is the atrium at the New World Center. You've got things like the cabin we stayed in Kentucky. You've got the MTT Concert Hall, also at New World. And you've got weird stuff like rooms from the Cary Blast Furnaces in Pittsburgh. And stairwells, recording studios, whole bunch of fun stuff. The reverb has also a high pass and low pass filter below it. So if you're getting too much boominess, you can run up the high pass filter a little bit to limit those low frequencies resonating. Retain some room space. That's pretty cool. Lastly, we've got a very simple delay process, which you can bring up using this knob here. Before I move on, I just want to show you quickly, there's 12 presets in here, just tonal things for you to play around with to get a jumping off point. So yeah, play around with those. And here, for a more traditional kind of use case example, here is a percussion excerpt. You're familiar with classical music. You probably know this from Porgy and Bess. All right, let's move over to Tonewoods Marimba. This is a more simple instrument. There's no presets. Now that you understand the layout of Tonewoods Xylophone, I figure you can figure out your way around this one. The only major thing to point out too is this is a prepared marimba, so it's not a straightforward marimba patch. Instead, what I did was I dropped glockenspiel mallets in between the notes as I hit them. So what you get is this nice little rattle that happens on the end of every note, which is cool for creating textures, effects, sound design, washes, that kind of thing. Otherwise, the instrument is set up almost exactly the same. The only real difference to take note of is this the fader that was previously controlling the blend of the two mallet articulations is now just a simple low pass filter. So as you pull this down, you lose the rattle. So to close this out, let's hear a little everything in its right place on the Tonewoods Marimba. So that is Tonewoods, Xylophone, and Marimba. So please download those, use them as you like. They're built for Kontakt 7 and newer, so would love to hear anything you come up with them, anything you use them in, so post that in the comments if you could. My plan is to continue to release instruments like these from time to time because I have just so many of them sitting on my hard drives, and it'd be a shame not to turn them loose and see what people can make with them. So that's all for this one. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.